'em up, lay it down just like Matt and Mari. Wrestling liver RHAPUp's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like the Rock cause I'm driving the Ferraris. And we coming every week and it's feeling like a party. Moolah Ric Flair, showing out like Bianca Belair, Best podcast, flush it in the air, Roman Reigns and we win it, don't care, No cap. Throw 'em up, lay it down just like Matt and Mari. Wrestling liver RHAPUp's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like the Rock cause I'm driving the Ferraris. And we coming every week and it's feeling like a party.
Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Wrestling RHAPUp podcast. I'm your host, Mari Forth, and with me today, my other tag team partner. It is a crime scene takeover. Sarah Carradine. Sarah, welcome to the podcast.
Bring in the crime! Bring in the crime! Hey, Mari, thanks for having me. But I don't know if you know, but I've changed franchises, and so I've changed my name now. I'd like you to refer to me as Gilda Tintin Ventura.
Okay, Gilda Tintin Ventura. You have now moved on to another wrestling company, so you can't legally use your last one. So, yes. Gilda, welcome to the first time to the podcast instead of your third.
Yes. I feel like a veteran now. I was amazing, like watching the clips and going, I know all these people. How did that happen? You've incepted me.
Yes, exactly. And if you're listening, if you're avid listeners to Crime Scene and you listen to the Wrestling RHAPUp, first off, I appreciate you. But
great
also
taste.
you get a double dose of us. They get like a double dose of us this week. So I'm so happy to have you, Sarah. Matt is out for work right now. So, we keep the party rolling. No animosity here. Me and Matt are not breaking up. Everybody always asks, do we find new tag team partners whenever the other one's not there? We'll come back together like Sammy and KO, but right now he has other business to take care of. Sarah, I'm so glad to be with you again here on the Wrestling RHAPUp. Before we get started, any thoughts on wrestling from what you've seen this week?
Yes, it occurred to me very much as I was grinning my little head off watching this fantastic sports entertainment, as I learned from Mandy very carefully, told me more than once that it was sports entertainment. So I was like, okay, Mandy, got it. That while I can't imagine ever seeking it out on my own. It just is not on my radar. I was so happy to be compelled to watch it for coming on the show. So maybe you make a wrestling fan out of me yet. I mean, I'm a fan, but a very casual one. But, this is great sports entertainment. And just again, I mean, I remember the first time watching this, the athleticism of these people and the full body, more than full body commitment. It's like a commitment of, mind and their lives as well. Like what I didn't realize is like how, this is a whole other conversation, but like how controlled is the wrong word, but they really do give themselves up, even their names up to the franchises. And what I don't like is hearing of the bad behavior behind the scenes for these people who are absolutely incredible.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Like me and Matt said it last week. It's like, we really just want to enjoy this sports entertainment and support our favorite wrestlers and superstars. But the business aspect of it makes it so hard. It makes it so incredibly hard. And that goes right into our first news of the week. Oh man, let me tell you, we had a rough night as wrestling fans earlier this week. Mostly because wrestling journalists are trash. We talk about it all the time on here. We are not journalists. Like we say it here on the Wrestling RHAPUp, and we say it over on Crime Scene. We are not journalists. This is here for entertainment purposes. This is like to have fun. This is to have communion. This is to talk about one of our favorite like things to watch. And it was just astounding. I think it was like Tuesday night or something like that. Around midnight-ish, but a little bit before midnight or something, like rumors started to abound that WWE was being sold to a Saudi public interest fund.
Yeesh.
Me, yeah, me and Matt talked about it last week, but Vince McMahon came back onto the board in what was kind of like a hostile takeover, really, as he was still the majority stakeholder in WWE after being, like asked to step down as CEO early last summer after sexual harassment and sexual misconduct allegations were against him. Sarah was with us when we talked a little bit about that last time. He was forced to step down. He came back like at the fifth hour. I don't know. He just came back out of nowhere, took over the board, like fired some people resigned, hired people onto the board. Stephanie stepped down. Like all this stuff just happened. He took control of the board, was able to get himself named as like the chairman of the board, and he says it's to facilitate a sale. Like we said last week, technically he does not need to be there for the sale to happen. So a lot of people are worried that not only will he facilitate the sale, but maybe terms of the sale would mean that he would have to stay on to the board. As of right now, creative directions are still, we're hearing it's still Triple H, Paul Levesque, um Paul Levesque, or whatever, is still taking over creative.
As we said, not journalists, everybody.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like ramble into, but yeah. So, but like I said, all of a sudden, flooded on the timeline, the TL on Twitter was like WWE is sold to the Saudis, and it's just like the source is some dude on Reddit, and it's like what, like what is happening? Like your people are like sending us messages like, what will y'all do if WWE is sold to the Saudi Arabian government? Because we've openly expressed our displeasure in just the Saudi pay-per-views. So it was it was touch and go. I was like, I don't know. And then we talked about if it was sold to the Saudis, it would go back to being a private company. Like lots of wrestlers can't even compete over there because of their beliefs or their sexual identities. We were scared. I was mostly scared when this news broke because I thought a lot of wrestlers are going to be out of work and then I was thinking about what about the women's division, because it's still iffy about if women can outright compete. So it was a lot of unfounded fear propagated by wrestling quote unquote journalists who just took no source. Literally, it was a source on Reddit, and they just ran with it. And it did not escape my it did not escape me that some of the wrestling news sources that we hear on the Wrestling RHAPUp site, like Fightful.com, Sean Ross Sapp, a lot of them did not report this. You know what I'm saying? So they could not get confirmation, so they did not report it. They mostly were just like, we are still looking into this. We have not heard anything. So that was not lost on me. So luckily, it has been proven false as of right now. There is no sale. WWE has not been sold. They're still looking to be sold mid 2023, like we said last week. No sale would go that quickly. We're hearing as well. Plus, WWE has so many options, like bigger options. We talked about Disney, NBC, Universal, Comcast. Like we'll see. We just got to let it play out, but it was just not fun.
It was, yeah. I mean, it even trickled through to me. I suppose
right.
my tangential, just because you talk about wrestling and I like you to have I like you to have nice things. I thought, oh, this is not good. Any idea of what the WWE is worth? I mean, did any of these bad articles cite a figure?
See, and that's the thing. No,
Even an
they
imaginary figure, you know?
No, it truly fluctuates because it depends on the TV deals. The TV deals are from what I'm understanding, that's they're coming up to be renewed, the TV deals. So I think it was a few years ago that WWE signed like $1 billion deal with Fox. just for Fox to put Smackdown on, and kind of like say around the same figure for NBC Universal. So it is a very lucrative investment, and this word actually kind of the stock went up, jumped a little bit after this. So
And of course, we know all about stocks
yeah,
over
well,
on crime scenes.
right. Only crime scene in WWE had me watching CNNBC, where CNNBC, stock guy had to come in and really be like, no, there's no Saudi Arabia deal. Like that clip was so funny because the guy was like, there have been rumors for some reason about a Saudi Arabia deal. That is just no. He almost didn't even address it because he was like, that is just ridiculous sounding. And it just goes to show you, like, people commenting on stuff they don't know. Like, I try not to do it here, but it was really funny to see CNNBC be like, this doesn't make any sense. Y'all are ridiculous. So
But that it
yeah,
was even on their radar shows kind of the reach and the elevation of this kind of news
yeah,
and wrestling as a whole, as a sports entertainment,
yeah,
and the power and the money that's in there.
yeah. There's misinformation, really, honestly, and how it's just yeah, it's just so it was not fun. It was not fun. So again, be careful where you get your news from. Check all your sources. If the deal had came on, I was ready to come on here and rip them to absolute shreds, but it's not like we can't. It didn't happen as of right now, so I'm just gonna try and not worry about it until we get some concrete answers. Next up, Mercedes Moné, our favorite wrestler, formerly known as Sasha Banks, remained the conversation this week because after not turning up on Dynamite, AEW Dynamite, which a lot of fans thought she would, she was trending, and Dynamite was trending for not having Mercedes on there. Sarah, I know you know about our love for Mercedes
Well,
Moné.
I mean, I was, absolutely smitten with her right from the very first time that I was invited to watch
Yes.
wrestling clips. Who is she? I love her. And when you referred to our favorite wrestler, Mercedes Moné, I thought, I bet I know who that is. So even I, see, it's seeping in by osmosis. I
Mhm,
adore her. She's strong. She's
mhm.
thoughtful's the wrong word, but even it just what she says is really, I don't know, straightforward and
Yes.
true. I know there's stories, I know all of that, but there's just something about her that is so charismatic, that is
Mhm.
so magnetic, that I just was smitten straight away, and you can't tell me a bad word about her.
Exactly, and just like me and Matt said last week, like, Dynamite kind of got in their own way this week because months ago they kept it was a whole month in advance that they were promoting this women's tag match between Britt Baker and Jamie Hayter versus Soraya, formerly known as Paige, versus a mystery partner. Like, this was a tag team match that they built for a month, like a month. It was right around the time that it was confirmed that Sasha Banks would be wrestling elsewhere after the new year. Um, so fans immediately thought like Sasha might be Paige's um mystery partner. And we got on here, we said, because the week before, when she debuted at New Japan Pro Wrestling, everybody's like, yes, so that must mean that Mercedes is coming to Dynamite. Tony Khan and the rest of everybody at AEW decided to tell everybody who the mystery partner was. It ended up being Tony Storm. And even last week, we were still sitting here like, okay, Tony Khan revealed that the mystery partner is going to be Tony Storm. So does that mean there's no Mercedes Moné? And Matt was really stomping on here like she's not showing up to AEW. And I agreed with him, but in wrestling, you just never know. So I was apprehensive to plant my flag, but he was right. Like, this is what happens when you book yourself into a corner, because this is not Mercedes' fault. This is the fault of the booker, to be quite honest. I mean, and the fans a little bit, because the fans were the ones who were like, it has to be her, it has to be her. Um, but the moment you don't promote that type of match, like a mystery partner match, and it not be something epic. Like that is just kind of like the law of wrestling. It just kind of doesn't work like that. That's how you get your talent in a deep hole. Because Toni Storm is a great wrestler, but she's a known quantity on the show. Like it's not like she's never been on that show before. She was a former women's champion. She was showing up like every other week, so it's just kind of like, why did you add this mystery partner element? And then on top of the mystery partner element, they also said, oh, Britt Baker gave Saraya 2 tickets, and they also try to layer another thing, like maybe Sasha will be in the crowd, and then Britt Baker was using lines like, oh, it's I'm the boss, and it was like a lot of like wink wink nudge nudge, and the thought of like it felt like you were teasing her, like even though there were no promises made that Mercedes was going to be there, it felt like a lot of wink and tongue in cheek and nodding to it. So the moment it's not her, people are, 1, let down, 2, they can't focus on the match. The match is pretty good. The women in the match aren't getting the attention. Toni Storm is again a good wrestler, but like it kind of takes away from her moment. Then people start blaming Mercedes. I saw people like, well, maybe they thought they had a deal, but then she fell through. I'm like, no, Mercedes has never said that she was going to AEW. AEW never said she was going to AEW. She's been over in Japan, working. We've seen that. All we know is she has a deal with Bushiroad over there in Japan. That's all we know. So to start blaming her, I'm like, I blame the fans and I blame the booking, because you shouldn't have even put your talent in that position, because it only honestly just hurts everybody involved. And again, she started trending. Like Sasha Banks is one of the only wrestlers that can trend. Mercedes is the only wrestlers that can trend for not being somewhere. She's one of the only people I have seen
Brilliant.
who will consistently trend on social media for not being somewhere. Like that's the amount of like power she has. I love her for that. So, she's doing what she's doing over in New Japan. She might be stepping on some toes over there. They're saying like she keeps taking pictures with people from other promotions, and she might not know that that's not the best thing to do in Japan. I don't know. Rumors abound, but the biggest thing is she is the conversation. She's the blueprint. Everybody's talking about Mercedes, and honestly, what more can you want? And finally in news, Mandy Rose, Amanda, I'm not even gonna try her last name, but
Sakamono.
There we go. Amanda Sakamono, formerly known as Mandy Rose, breaks her silence by going on the Tamron Hall show. She went on the Tamron Hall show earlier this week, I think on the 10th. Really good interview, like a 11-minute interview. What did you think of this, Sarah?
Well, I didn't know what I was going to be watching. I clicked on the link that you sent, so it was all fresh to me. But first of all, a great show. Tamron Hall, great, and I love that she has her Tam fan, and her Tam fam was all masked in the studio. I thought, oh, right on, and I love her haircut, so that was great. But the questions that she asked, like she was very a supportive interviewer, but she wanted answers. Like she went in several different ways to try and get answers from Mandy, not in an aggressive way, but knowing that Mandy, and this is what really sort of started my thinking about how handcuffed, I suppose. I mean, it's a sort of a violent image to think about someone being handcuffed, but how Mandy was there. She wants to talk. She has things that she wants to say, but you could see her thinking of every word that she was going to say. And it wasn't a PR thing. Oh, I want to appear a certain way. It was almost like she had to check off her NDA in her mind before she could speak. And I don't know, that's just what got me thinking to how these very talented people are very tied into a strict system that benefits from their labor. And I suppose gives them fame, gives them money, but can snatch it away at any moment, as we saw. So I was interested. It seemed to me that the story was that she had a fan site. Tamron kept saying a fan site, and I thought, OnlyFans? Is that what you're trying to say? And then she referred a couple of times to, you and your partner, whose name escapes me, but he was there very supportively in the crowd. Being a couple, she said a few times, being a couple, and then she said, "Oh, come on, everyone, it's daytime," and everybody thought that was hilarious.
Yeah.
But it seemed very. I thought, what's going on? Who's right? Who's wrong? Then the stunning thing for me was a photograph, a beautiful photograph of Mandy, who is a star. I mean, we shouldn't be talking about people's bodies, but the thing is, their bodies are actually part of their talent. It's kind of this strange thing when you walk into wrestling, if you want to really embrace it, which I do when I watch it. I'm thinking about their bodies. Oh, is that right? And I thought, well, yes, because it's part of the presentation of them. It's their craft. Exactly. So a very beautiful photograph of Mandy lying nudely beside the pool, but she's got I thought it was funny. It was fun and light and beautiful. She's got her two belts, one down below, one up above. You cannot see anything. I've seen girls on Bondi Beach showing more. You can see people walking down the street showing more. You literally could see nothing. But as Tamara said, it's the implied nudity, the suggestion of nudity. So it was beautiful. It was it was more than slightly sexy, and it was also fun. But it was also proud. It's like, here is my body, here is my work, and here are these belts that I've earned. Even if it's written and decided beforehand, they earn these championships, very much so. And apparently WWE, when she put that photograph on her Instagram, WWE reposted it. So what is the difference between that photograph and the fan site? And I just immediately thought it's because that's Mandy's own. She's making her own money from her own bodily autonomy, and that's what they don't like. It's nothing to do with her being nude. Oh, have I got that right? Did I get that right?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. And it's interesting because it's a 6-minute interview, and I thought, what could they possibly talk about for 6 minutes? But it was really compelling. Murray, have I got that right? I'm amazed.
You got it all. I mean, literally nail on the head, because Mandy, it's so ironic because Mandy's whole persona in the WWE, she was a champion for like over 400 days, was this.
She might have mentioned that a couple of times.
She was like this sex bombshell. Like, that is literally her character. Her character in WWE is half clothed like this. So it's not like oh, the celebrity sweet teen heartthrob is caught with suggestive photos, and no, this is her persona in WWE as well. Like you said, posting those, the reposting with the two belts. Like, WWE has been selling her as a sex pot for years, and that's literally the thing that really pisses me off, because like you said, when they can monetize her body and her image in a sexy way, it's okay. But the moment she tries to do that, it's not okay. And I mean, there's a lot of nuances to that. People will say, but it's about the contracts, and they know that they're not allowed to have like sites outside of WWE that WWE doesn't get a cut on. Like, this was such a big deal a few years ago because a lot of superstars who had like their own Twitches, their own cameos, had to shut them down because WWE wasn't getting a cut. And it's just annoying because these are supposed to be independent contractors. Like you said, this is a very strict, it's an ununionized sport. Companies, all of pro wrestling is ununionized, so they are independent contractors. But when they sign these contracts, some of these contracts are so stiff that it's like, how can we truly be independent contractors if we're full? It almost seems like we're full-time employees, but you just don't want to pay us healthcare.
Yes. Yeah, well, yeah, exactly. And I mean, the interesting thing too was that again, Tamara poked and prodded Mandy a little bit. Mandy kept saying, "No, this is great. They gave me a great opportunity, and I'll always be grateful. And new
Mhm.
things come." And several times she talked about how wonderful the relationship's been and how
Yep.
much opportunity she's had. And finally, Tamara just altered the question enough to say, "Are you hurt by it?" And she said, "Yeah, I'm really
Mm.
hurt." I was
Yeah.
like, "This real," because before that she was really picking her words, and she's saying, "Well, I can't really say too much about that." She flips her ponytail when she can't say too much, when she's a little bit like, she looks very calm,
Mhm.
and but she's just got this, "Oh, I can't say." But when she says, "Yeah, I was really hurt by it," I thought, wow, that's the reality. I mean, there's also
Mhm.
young athletes as well, and they elevated her. And if you think of 400 and something days, that's over a year.
If
They had her as the
Right.
champion. And when I
Mhm.
jokingly said, yes, she might have mentioned it a few times. This is a huge, I mean, this is, why
Mhm.
shouldn't she say, why shouldn't she pose with her belts and say, "I earned these. I was the champion for over 400 days, and the third longest, I believe, of any women's
Yeah.
champion." And she should be proud of it, and she is proud of it. And then that WWE could snatch it away on, it's not even a whim, it's a financial business. I mean, look, they are running a business, yes,
Yeah.
but in a punitive way, and to do it to someone who I assume has an extremely high profile. I mean, Tamara talks about, "Oh, I knew, when I walked to work today, there's paparazzi outside, and believe me, they're not here for me." I don't know why not. She's gorgeous.
Yeah.
But they were there for Mandy, so I assume that Mandy was very high profile, and I think
Yeah.
that is also a deliberate decision around some sort of table in some sort of, sky high, disgusting room, where they said, "We will make an example of Mandy so that the ones
Mhm.
coming up, the younger ones coming up, don't try the same shenanigans." Because, as the younger wrestlers come in, they're going to be more and more savvy to social media, and WWE and all these companies are going to have to, if they want to maintain the stranglehold, they're going to have to show that there are consequences for these kind of actions, these kind of bodily autonomy and making your own money while you can actions. Because Mandy made a huge amount of money in a month, right? And I thought,
Oh, yeah,
yes, get that
$1,000,000.
get that coin while you can.
Mhm.
She's smart. These are smart people. I don't know who. I don't. Not saying that previous wrestlers weren't smart,
Mhm.
but this generation is so savvy and so smart, and they're very clear-eyed about, it seems to me, this is like making huge assumptions,
No, you're
but,
right.
about their, I mean, she talks about the injuries, and Tamara, they say, "Look, it's real, like, you do get injured." Uh, they're putting themselves on the line, and like any athlete, they
Mhm.
should be allowed to make that money while they are young and fit, and people wanna look at them, whether it be to
Exactly.
advertise a sports drink, to advertise a car, or
Advertise their
to
bodies.
sell access to their body and their relationship with their equally handsome partner.
Yeah, exactly, and so Mandy here, like, eh, and Mandy is a full blown product of WWE. Like, she was a former like bikini model, fitness model. She was on the show Tough Enough back in 2015, like, WWE's, reality TV show where they, like, picked the next best wrestler. She didn't win, but she went on to get a contract, like a rookie deal contract, and she worked her way up from there. So that's like 7 years of her life that she put in like she put into WWE. And so I don't really expect that switch to turn off, when she's answering these questions and stuff like that. Because I'm not really sure what NDA might be in place after you are terminated, but I'm pretty sure, like she said, I do believe her when she says she's still on good terms with a lot of those people. And d- WWE has let people come back for less. Vince McMahon. So she could honestly be back with the company like relatively soon, depending on, probably just hammering out that detail. Like, it's kind of like, to me, like in football, like they terminate her contract, they fire her and they let her go, just so that they can maybe re-sign her under a different deal. Again, I don't know if that means giving up a piece of her fan site, or what, but like she is a company woman, and I when she said that part about being hurt, I truly believed her because this has
Yes.
been her passion, and I just can't see them letting like permanently letting her go over something so stupid, to be quite honest, especially since she's had so much. And the Tamron Hall show, like a lot of people speaking out on her behalf online and stuff like that. She's
Mm.
really well loved and liked in the wrestling community. So um I just want her to be happy, whatever she does.
Yes, yes,
That's the
yes.
biggest thing. Like, she does not need to come back to WWE if she doesn't need to. Like, literally, she does not need to come back to WWE if she's making $1 million a month. Uh, but I just want her to, be happy and be okay with what's going on, because it was very sad. It was very sad to just see her gone so quickly for something
Mhm.
that so many people do. Like, the way our society is kind of like moving towards body autonomy and stuff like that. It's just, again, taking your own body into account, having power over your own body versus literally the person who owns the company, um, you know, molesting and taking using his power to flex on other people's bodies. It just doesn't make sense. Like, it's
Yes.
stupid.
Yes.
Ugh,
I mean, she did say a lovely thing where she says, "Oh, well, no one likes getting fired." And it's like, yeah, that's right.
true.
She was fired.
Yeah.
But yes, you're right. She did not badmouth WWE at all. She was
Mhm.
careful about what she said. I think she was genuine when she talked about the opportunities that she'd been given. I mean, now you've just told us that,
Mhm.
and I'm sure all the listeners knew except me, that she's come up through the ranks and that they have
Mhm.
given her this opportunity, this life that she now has. So she probably wants to be positive as well. I mean, no one wants to
Yeah.
sit in that grumpiness. But Tamron just found the little
So
key, which
good.
was, "Are you
Mhm.
hurt?" And she was genuinely hurt. And that's not anything against WWE. That's just saying, I didn't like being fired out of the blue for something I
Mhm.
didn't know I'd done wrong, basically.
Yeah, exactly. All right, that's it for the news. Please go and subscribe to us at robhasawebsite.com/wrestling feed. If you haven't already done it, please subscribe to our individual feed. That helps us out tremendously. You can also send any long form emails to wrestling@robhasawebsite.com. We love listening. We love hearing back from you guys, especially when you guys go to shows, to live shows. Please send us an email. You can follow us on Twitter at Wrestling RHAPUp on Twitter. Use hashtag Wrestling RHAPUp and reach out to us. Again, I I got a lot of tweets like, what's happening? I was like, I have no clue. So definitely go reach out to us there. We love talking to everybody. Hopefully you're watching our beautiful faces here on the Rob Has a Podcast YouTube page. I Matt is not here, so I am going to try my best to bring up some pictures. Bear with me. I we will see what happens. And of course, anytime is a great time to join the RHAP Patreon. You can go to www.patreon.com/RHAP. We're going to take a quick break and we will be back with the highlights of the week. Okay, so Sarah, I'm so glad to have you here with us. This is, and the reason why I love having guests on, especially casual viewers on at this point. And I was telling you this pre-show, but the road to WrestleMania, the Royal Rumble itself, this is the time when a lot of those casual fans, those lapsed fans, that's when they come back. This is the most exciting year for wrestling, a time period for wrestling. WrestleMania is like our wrestling Christmas. So we we love to have casuals on to come in and give their opinions. We will be doing a casual ratings later, but right now we got to talk about some of the highlights. I immediately was getting like texts and stuff about what is going on with Alexa Bliss. So
What is going on with Alexa Bliss? That's a really, really good question. I had that question myself.
yes. So on Raw, on this week's Raw, the biggest thing that happened on this week's Raw was Alexa Bliss, after beating up Bianca the week before, getting herself disqualified during a Raw Women's Championship match, she looks like she was seeing things, right? And so on Raw, she gives this fiery speech. It's basically her heel turn because up until this point, you could relatively say that Alexa Bliss was a face, a good guy at this point. But she had this fiery promo talking about how she is the evil one, but she was then interrupted by Uncle Howdy, and it is just it's a lot. It is a lot. So just a little bit of background because we haven't been here. Our first episode was last week, and we didn't really delve into any storylines. We did a lot of news catch up. So what we missed was, Alexa and Bianca have been on friendly terms for the most part of last year. Alexa did win a number one contenders match against Bayley for the Raw Women's title match. But during that match, she showed flashes of old Alexa Bliss, the one who works with Bray Wyatt. And as she's confronted by Bianca on the holiday special, she had a vase is slammed into Bianca's head, and Alexa is talking about how basically she felt abandoned by Bray, and that we shouldn't be worried about Bray. We should be worried about her. It's a lot going on. It is truly a lot going on. Before I keep rambling, Sarah, what did you think of these segments here?
Well, I did write the clarity of the narrative. Like the narrative is very clear in terms of, even without words, the looks and the stances and all of that are very good. The performance of the stories amongst wrestlers in general, there are some who are better at it, and there are some who are not so good at it. And I'm on the fence here with Alexa Bliss. I can see what she's trying to do, what the story is supposed to be, but it seems very empty at the moment. And it may be because they're manufacturing this heel turn. I don't know. A couple of things, talking about heels, Bianca Belair, who's one of my absolute favorites, as you know, stepping into the ring in high-heeled, thigh-high silver boots was just like everything to me. Oh, there she is. But the story on this interview, the very festive socks of the interviewer, which I appreciated, but I was abandoned. You shouldn't think about him. And I was not keen on the anti-therapy message. I went to therapy and it turned me into a shell of myself. No, Alexa, that's not what therapy does. I just thought that was a glaring misstep. I may be making a mountain out of a molehill there, but it was one of the things that really took me out of the story, because I thought, first of all, you think, well, how wonderful that these amazing, iconic figures would say, I went to therapy. I thought, oh, that's great. I went on a mini roller coaster. That's great. But she said it wasn't like, it was the way it was said. It's not like I agree. I have more work to do. She had turned me into a shell of myself. There's something that doesn't sit with Alexa currently. She may become a great heel. It's certainly a great story. The blonde hair with the color in it, the sort of Barbie girl kind of look, that person being mind controlled, question mark, yep. Flashes of that, or she's staring at a man in a mask who's in the audience. I think they're asking a lot of this woman, and let's just see. Let's see what happens. As I say, I'm on the fence as yet. I like the story. Who doesn't love good turn bad? I mean, it's really a compelling story. I just don't know that she's carrying it. However, her opponents are very much carrying it. I mean, Bianca Belair working her ass off, and she's just absolutely brilliant, and I love her.
Yeah, it's really rough because you're right. Like, even when we were talking about the Alexa Bliss therapy angle, it just didn't make sense even at the time, because it was like, what is she accomplishing for this therapy narrative? Because it was supposed to get her like back to like out of her maybe formerly brainwashed state where her and Bray, like when she was like Bray's like manager, right hand woman, whatever she was, disciple. We still don't know the context. But even when she came out of therapy, she still had like some of the supernatural elements. She was still carrying Lily around. It just didn't make sense, right? And then so she goes away for a little bit. She comes back, and now she's like a good guy, and she's all happy go lucky. So she's basically saying like, I'm tired of playing good. Like, this is the true me. I'm really bad. I am the essence of evil, all this stuff. And I can believe it, because with her partnership with Bray originally, she went from kind of feeling like a sidekick to feeling like either an equal or one who is also like participating and almost controlling him. When he went to when he went full fiend character, it always felt like she could also kind of be manipulating him in a sense. And I like their partnership. And then one thing I do like Alexa is I do think she's better at this acting portion of it. I think she's so much better as like a manager and an actor than she is as like an active wrestler. Like for me, her wrestling is mediocre. I've said this time and time again. What works with her and her matches is she gets you invested in these storylines with these characters and stuff like that. And I think she's doing a pretty good job here. I think the problem is we have no clarity on the Bray Wyatt Uncle Howdy situation. We'll get into it a little bit later with Bray Wyatt, but like Uncle Howdy, from what we're understanding, is like a part of Bray Wyatt. Bray Wyatt came back the same way. Like he came back, he's like, I'm so glad I missed you guys. I'm gonna be better. I'm gonna be a good person. And then Uncle Howdy comes on the screen and he's like, are you sure? Like Uncle Howdy is the devil on the shoulder. And right now he's the devil on the shoulder.
Well, I love that idea. But where's the clarity?
Exactly.
Give me some clarity. Yeah.
And I'm working this out as I'm saying
because it's a fantastic idea. I want to be good, but I'm being drawn to be bad, or I actually always was bad. I was pretending to be good, and my bad side has been released, and I've never felt more myself. I mean, which is it? And that actually makes sense then of the Bray
promo
spoken word performance that we get from him later. And Uncle Howdy, what a fantastic name. And like, it's so bizarre. It's partly benign, but it's also strange. So I think the elements are there. It's interesting to me that you say that her wrestling's not good. I mean, the most casual of casuals, I thought Bianca is carrying her in that match. I mean, she is doing all the things that the setup of the table. She went to the wrong place. It just for me, it wasn't. But I'm sorry, Mary, I interrupted you. So here's Uncle Howdy.
Yeah, this is Uncle Howdy, and you're right. Like, again, Alexa has a very strong fan base, a very strong backing, and I get why she does, and I get it. Like I am not one of those. Full disclosure. But I think it's normally because she can connect with the audience.
Yes.
Using any character that she has. So I like this. I do like this. I am just kind of, it's funny because I'm ready for it to like crescendo, because we're still like climbing the hill. And I wanna see it kind of peak, but it's kind of funny because like Edmo was saying to me, it's like wrestling fans be like, oh, why don't we get long-term storytelling? Also, wrestling fans, I want this. I want it now. I want this right now. It's kind of the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah, it's kind of the same thing. But I still think I appreciate where this is going. What we're all guessing is we're going to get a fully realized faction based on Bray Wyatt's Bray Wyatt's like cinematic universe of characters. So that would be really fun, and I think it's a good spot for Alexa. Because it might get her away from the title, so that's all I kind of care about. But I thought it was also funny, WWE security being WWE security. I don't know if you realized in the one segment when Alexa and Bianca are fighting, and the first dude stands up and he's like leaning over her, and he's supposed to be there, and then the security guard is trying to get him. And like they haven't like, dude, like this is a part of the
That's
bit.
good. But also the very polite tap on the arm that the man got, you know, I thought that was very funny.
Yeah.
And then whoop, you know, yeeted out of there. It was. I saw that. I thought, because I thought it was just a person from the crowd as well, which is
Mhm.
such a wonderful thing. And I thought maybe the security guard was part of the bit. And I thought, oh no. He done. They didn't brief him.
They didn't tell him. And
Yeah.
and it was kind of funny because the way if you were listening to commentary were acting like they didn't see the guys. So
Yes.
the
Yes.
whole thing was supposed to be like, oh, these people are standing in the middle of the audience, but only Alexa Bliss sees them. But it's like, no, because
I know the security, the little security guard, sir, this way, sir. Sir, you're too close to the wrestlers, sir.
So it's good. I'm definitely glad like where this is going, and I know a lot of our listeners are interested as well. So we will definitely
Like it's
keep
a
it
great
updated.
story. Let's you know, as you say, let's see how it you know, hurry up and get to the good bit.
Exactly. And of course, like I normally say, all of the highlights of the week can be found in a very handy playlist in our show notes. We'll see how extensive those are this week. Probably don't expect any time codes again. Matt is not here, y'all.
What?
But you can definitely check those out in our show description and show notes. We gotta talk about real quickly. Bobby Lashley returned.
Bobby Lashley, I know him.
Yeah. Bobby Lashley returned after like a faux suspension. It's been a minute. Like the time is like so weird when it comes to like wrestling because I'm like, oh, I guess Bobby Lashley hasn't been here for a few weeks. All right.
Mhm.
Like, and he's mad because this whole screwiness between him and Austin Theory and Seth freaking Rollins is the catalyst for him losing his United States Championship, a few months back. And he just wants back into that title picture. Love Bobby Lashley. Austin Theory is he's so annoying, which is a good heel tactic,
He is, and in a very nice sheer Swiss dotted shirt. I noticed. I thought, oh, Austin Theory, not afraid of his feminine side. You know,
Mhm.
more a blouse than a shirt. And I say that men can wear blouses as well. I thought it was an interesting, like it's black, but it's dotted Swiss. It's like, it's a look. I was thinking, now, do I make that a crime against fashion? And I thought, no, it's actually perfect.
Yeah. So let me bring up some of these images here. Like again,
But I
bear
was
with
so
me.
even I got excited when Bobby Lashley came onto the scene, and I thought, oh, I didn't know he was gone because who knows what's happened since I was here last. But
Exactly.
yeah, he's pretty magnificent.
Yeah. So this Austin Theory is just I like the only good thing about him, the US champion here, the only good thing about him is he elicits the best response for the baby faces. Like that is the one thing you can do as a good heel is at least get people to cheer the person you're up against and that's what he does. Seth Rollins comes out with like, why did he come out with a crutch? Like he said his knee wasn't doing too well, but then he's not even using his crutch. So it's kind of like,
Yeah.
why
Yes.
are we?
If you come out like that holding it, it is clearly a prop.
Right, and the crowd is just going nutso for Seth here, and Seth has been doing such great work. What we haven't talked about was Seth and Austin Theory had like a banger of a match like a few weeks ago, and Seth loses, of course, because Austin is still the champion, but Seth has been doing such good work this whole year, and he's probably lost more of the feuds than he's actually won, but he's such a great character that the crowd you heard the crowd when Seth was like singing his song, he's like, oh, and the crowd, and he's talking about he's gonna win the Royal Rumble, and the crowd erupts. Like Seth Rollins has always been that dude. He could really wrestle anybody. he can lose every match and still the crowd will be behind him. And the biggest thing for him that I hope with this WrestleMania season coming up is I hope he has a spot somewhere. Like I hope he gets rewarded for a lot of the stories that he told over the year, because that's what WrestleMania is for, kind of, Sarah. It's like it's to reward your talent. It's the culmination of storylines, but it is to reward the talent that has helped. That's what it should be, meritocracy. Um, and I'm hoping he gets a big match at WrestleMania. But right now, the title scene is very weird and iffy, with two belts being on Roman and the Sammy and KO and all of the stuff that's going on. I don't see him being rewarded with the title belt. So I hope he gets some sort of featured match. I hope it's not against Austin Theory. Maybe Bobby Lashley. That'd be good. Like maybe a triple threat or something. I don't know. But I'm just hoping he gets some sort of payment for being such a great sport this year. Austin Theory, on the other hand, he can choke. I don't like Austin Theory. So Bobby comes back. It's the biggest thing. Bobby Lashley comes back. He gets a good pop because, again, if you're coming back and you're planting Austin Theory, then 9 times out of 10 the crowd will cheer you. So he was kind of on the thin line between, was he a heel, was he a face before he left. He's coming back. It's giving babyface right now, but who knows. In our next segment, we see MVP approaching him about possibly starting the Hurt Business again. And Sarah, the Hurt Business, I can't remember if you saw anything.
Yes, my first time around. Yep.
Yes. So the Hurt Business was so good, right? When you came on, it was like it was so good.
Like a dynasty almost.
Yes, exactly. They had all the belts and stuff. And a lot of us felt like the Hurt Business was dismantled way too soon. Like they all had the belts for maybe like 2 weeks, and then slowly but surely the Cedric and Shelton lost their belts because their tag belts were eventually moved on to the Usos, who have held both titles for like over a year now. After they lost their belts, they made Bobby turn on them to kick them out of the Hurt Business, which made no sense. And then it was just Bobby and MVP. And then what you missed, Sarah, was MVP eventually turned on Bobby to go with this other dude named Omis. And Omis and MVP were a very good pairing because Omis is like the 7-foot Nigerian giant. That's what he calls himself, but he doesn't talk really like that. And MVP is a great talker. And on paper, it's a really good pairing, but they just didn't have anywhere to go really. So Omis has been off TV for a while, I want to say. So now MVP is showing back up, trying to get back with Bobby Lashley. This is what good managers do. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I love a good manager, and MVP is one of the best. So a lot of people are excited for hopefully what is the reformation of the Hurt Business. If we give MVP and Bobby, we had Cedric and Shelton in the tag team turmoil match, which we'll talk about later. We're hoping Hurt Business 2.0. We'll see. Yeah. So
such a great name. Apart from anything else, how do you abandon that team name? It's so great.
I know. It felt just too short, man. And it just didn't make sense because they were doing so well and they were so over. But it's just one of those things, like they were kind of like a victim of circumstance, because at some point last year, I don't know why, they decided to put all of the belts on Roman and all of the belts on the Usos. And it just has stymied the men's tag team division and honestly the men's title division for a year. Like I love the Bloodline storyline, and we'll talk about that. The Bloodline storyline is very good. It's very layered. It's been going on for at least like 3 years almost at this point. Getting around to it, at least 2. And it's great, but I just don't understand why every title has to be wrapped up into them. Like there was a whole point of having 2 separate titles for 2 separate brands, and it's that's the one thing that is been a letdown for me. Okay, I should have stopped sharing this. Ooh, I love this. Okay. All right, so let's get into one more short break and then we'll come back with casual ratings.
Yes, looking forward to it.
Okay, so we have not done this in a while. I am so excited to do this, but this is we're back with our casual rating segment featuring Sarah Carradine this time. This is inspired by Erin and Peyton's she had a Money in the Bank thread last year, last summer, where Erin never watched WWE in her life. She turned on like SmackDown. She turned on SmackDown and Money in the Bank and just started live tweeting what she saw. And it was one of the funniest things in the world. So we decided to turn it into a segment
no
called
pressure.
Casual Ratings. Yeah. And this is our third iteration of it. So I'm going to have Sarah describe to us what she saw in the clips and then to give us a rating on how much she enjoyed the clips based on having, basically minor level knowledge of wrestling. I won't say no knowledge because it's you are there.
It's next to no knowledge, but yes, I'll give it. I'll do my best.
Yes. So first up, I want us to talk about the tag team turmoil match, but not just the tag team turmoil match. We have to talk about Dominic Mysterio.
Oh my God, please.
Yes. We have to talk about his arrest. I think this is perfect we have the crime scene gang together to talk about somebody getting arrested on Christmas.
The high camp of this scene was like perfection. So there's a little I'm assuming it's a family slap fest. There's slapping going on here, there, and everywhere. The police arrive extremely quickly. Like it's as if they were there. They arrest the young man, and then there's a young lady with black lipstick, and she's very upset. She tells, I don't know
Rhea
whether it's the
Ripley.
family, you're ruining Christmas. And then the magnificent moment where I realize that she is Australian because she goes, no!
Yep.
When she's trying to say no. And I said, oh, she's Australian. Hi, girl. So Dominic, now here's the story. He is come back from prison. He uses the word prison. And I thought, you were arrested at Christmas. You went to prison. He served hard time. Okay. He has a tattoo of a teardrop under his eye. He gives a very passionate spoken word performance in a white room. And he says, imagine being locked up with the world's most dangerous people. No, Dominic. And then he says the most brilliant line of all, not knowing when your next meal is going to be. And I wrote, prisons, famous for their lack of routine. He had to do what he had to do. So he's explaining and expressing and drawing us into his nightmare in a prison. And he says that he has a story about scaring a guy straight. It's like, it's not the guys in the prison that you scare straight. Dominic, where is your head? It's the guys that are just about to go to prison, in danger of going to prison. They're the ones you scare straight. So he says he has this story, and I'm thinking, okay, all right, I'm going to go along with everything. I'm in. You're a ludicrous camp young man, and I mean camp in the full sense. But you're going to tell me the great story of scaring someone who's already in prison straight. Here's the story.
So hold up, Sarah. I gotta because no, it's so good. So me and Matt, we were on break when this happened, and we talked about before we went on break how in Thanksgiving, Dominic Mysterio rolled up on his dad at the house, and he basically beat up his dad on Thanksgiving. So when they did it again, when Dominic and Rhea showed up on Christmas, they were like, "Oh, we're ready for you," and they said they had the police on standby. That was when I watched that on like Christmas, it was the funniest thing I had ever seen in my entire life.
No, you ruined Christmas.
When he says, I won't survive in prison. He was in the car, in the police car, like, I can't do it, mommy, I can't. And Rhea Ripley just, oh my god,
Talk
so
about
good.
commitment. The
Oh my
commitment that I want
gosh,
from Alexa is in spades with Rhea Ripley. She is something.
so
Oh my,
good.
and also the
Yeah.
height differential between her and the elder Mysterio is, comedy gold.
It is like just perfect physical comedy on
Mhm.
like accident. And
So good.
Dominic Mysterio addressing like the whole promo that you just gave, that was the week before. And I mean, this, I don't care. I don't care. This storyline with Judgment Day is, it's so funny to me. And me and Matt disagree on like Dominic Mysterio's like heat level. Like, is his like heat, and when we say heat for a heel, that's like, do people hate you? That's your heat. But is it like good heat? Like, is it like we're playing along with the story? You're the bad guy. We're going to boo you, or is it, I really don't like you, I want you to go away? And I
Right.
personally I personally think Dominic falls into the this is good heat. It's funny heat. It's people want to see him get punched in the face.
Because
They really do.
he's a little man who's extremely full of himself. And and we're about to see Ms. TV, just
Yes.
take him to the cleaners. And that to me was this incredible button
Yeah,
on this
explain.
ludicrous
Yeah.
story. Well, so he says he's going to scare this guy straight. So, okay, what's the story? And I thought, all right, look, you've got the teardrop. Like, what's the story? It's going to be this
The
fantastic
teardrop.
story. Okay, here's the story. He's asleep. He's up in his top bunk. He hears the guy in the bottom bunk talking badly about him. Like, to whom? I'm not sure. Anyway, he rolls or jumps or, levitates out of the top bunk. And he says to the guy in the bottom bunk, don't talk about me like that. That's the story. I just thought, what? Where's the story? Where's the shivving? And then he puts the crowd absolutely loves this. They're roaring. And the
Mhm.
Martha Stewart gag goes down so well with me and with the crowd. Not so much with the crowd, but more with me, where he says he can completely now understand where Martha Stewart's coming from. And that's when I knew, I thought, oh, this is great. And then Miss
Mhm.
TV confronts him. He says, weren't you in county jail for 2 hours? Oh, and the crowd just screams because it's this fantastic, all this sort of cocky bantam behavior. I don't know if Americans use that expression. It's like the often a smaller guy who struts around. He's the big
Mhm.
man. He has this, tries to have the big man energy and is ludicrous. And I think this performer, this sports entertainer, I don't know about his wrestling. I did like him hanging over the buckle for half an hour during one of the matches. I thought, stop having a rest, get up and wrestle. But
Yeah.
but the commitment that he had, I mean, I went for such a journey when it started, and he was talking about prison and hard time. I thought, this is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, how can they expect me to believe this? And then I realized that the story is that we don't believe him. The story is that he
Mhm.
is building himself up with his teardrop tattoo
When
and
I
his
saw that
story. Oh
teardrop,
my
Sarah,
God.
we were watching it. I was done.
I was
I've been crying,
crying.
laughing I
Yes.
was like, "Duh." Even if, because again, you got arrested on Christmas Eve. It is January 9th at this point. Like,
Yep.
at most you were there for 2 weeks.
Yes.
At most.
Yes.
If we're talking
You
about
don't
from
go to
bell to bell.
prison. You don't go to prison unless you've been charged and convicted, and the American justice system does not work that swiftly.
Exactly.
It was the hard time. It's the world's most dangerous people. But yes, not knowing where your next meal is coming from, I thought, oh, my darling, no, no, no,
Oh my
no,
god, you
no,
took
no.
me out. I love it.
But
I don't care.
I absolutely loved it. And what I love too is the full commitment that Dominic had to the story, but that he and the crowd were playing together. Like,
Mhm.
he never winked to the crowd. He never said, "Oh, this isn't really me. This is a character." Like, he was in that character. But the way that he is really aware of the crowd and his effect on them, and they sort of love him, hate him, love him.
Mhm.
They can have scorn for him. Really, without any let or hindrance, because it's like the crowd knows they're being invited to regard him in a certain way. I love the whole thing had me so happy. And even if I didn't see the black lipstick lady she is in my notes until I realized who she is, a wrestler in her own right, she was giving me, like, she is fierce. My God, she's the one that should have been in prison with the teardrop tattoo. She could go in and scare them straight in prison, I'm sure, but not Dominic. And the way they have him dressed, he's got very both in the arrest scene and later, he's not wearing very fitting clothes. He's wearing slightly loose clothes, so it's like he appears to be softer, like a softer bodied person, not some of these very sort of hard-bodied wrestlers. So even the costuming worked so well. Oh, I was thrilled.
Yeah, it was really good. It was him coming out with like the bandana over his face, like he really hard, like I'm hard. Like you are not hard, sir. Like it's really like sit down.
I scared that man straight. I said, "Don't talk about me like that." So, and that was it.
It's just so good. I love it. It's like a little kid pretending to play dress up and like it's like the nerd that's picked to be with the cool kids. You know, you know what I'm saying? Like, and he's trying to show them like he can hang, and it is just. I don't care. I love this. I love this this storyline. I think the last time you were with us, Judgment Day were recruiting him at the time.
Yes. They didn't they make him leave his father?
Yep. They did.
And they had him kneeling on the canvas in a very sort of submissive posture, and he had to go with them so that his father would be saved. Oh, I see where it's gone now. He's still that same little boy.
And
there's
it's
Miss
like
TV going in for the kill. Wasn't it 2 weeks in county jail? 2 hours. I'm sorry, 2 hours. That's hilarious.
Yeah. So and the storyline has just been so funny ever since. It's really kind of like it's like all of a sudden him and Rayo are like the implications of them dating and her kind of like turning him out is. Honestly, I've been living for it. If anybody's been watching wrestling, it's been so good.
Absolutely note perfect.
It is. And but I do have to say congratulations to Dominic Mysterio because him and his actual girlfriend got engaged, from what I understand.
Oh, congratulations.
Yeah, good for them. I don't blame her. Like
he has really say no.
Yeah, he has him and Rhea have really good chemistry. So I don't blame her to be like, yeah, I need. We've seen it happen before. We've seen people steal other people's people. So, but congrats to them.
Do that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I know. Let's
not do that,
everybody. So, all of this it just goes into the tag team turmoil match earlier in the night. Adam Pearce tells the Usos that there's going to be a tag team turmoil match, but the wording that he used, there's going to be a tag team turmoil match so that the winners can get a chance at the Raw tag team titles. So. It's caused a lot of flurry because does this mean that they're going to separate the titles? And this would be so great. I hope so. But what happens in a tag team turmoil match here, Sarah? It's a gauntlet match. I don't know why it's a gauntlet match. I don't know why they automatically call it tag team turmoil when it's a tag team as opposed to a gauntlet. But basically what happens is you get the first team in. It's the first team, which Judgment Day was the first team. And then each team there were 6 teams in total, I want to say, or 5 teams in total. 5 teams, whatever. They come in. So the OC comes in, you fight them, whoever wins continues on, and then the next tag team comes and stuff like that. Like normally in like a normal gauntlet match or tag team turmoil match like this, you don't see not very often does the team that starts ends up finishing it.
At one point they said that they'd been in there for 20 minutes, and that seems like a very long time to me for this very physical. Yes, they can tag in and out, but even when you're out, you're in. Like, it's not like you go out and have a rest. I mean, they are still involved. And I wrote as you know, I love the commentators. One of them said, "Prison changes a man," which just cracked me up. So I thought, well, they're in on the storylines too, and their
Mhm.
commitment. Again, these are not performers; they're commentators, but I just love them. And the other thing that took my ear was you can't take your eye off one without worrying about the others, and there were men flying about. That's what I
Mhm.
wrote.
Yeah.
And then a new group came in. Again, not an expert, but the
Mhm.
second team that we saw, not the second that they battled, because I think they'd been in there for a while. And
Mhm.
suddenly, it had so much more flow. I did write, "Are you allowed to choke?" Like there was a lot of choking. I don't think I've ever seen choking in wrestling before. I didn't know that you were
So
supposed to.
yeah, you can choke. This is, depending
You know how
on
we feel about choking over on crime scene.
right.
Leads
Depending
to
on
murder.
depending on like where you're at when you're doing the choking, you get like
Mhm.
5 seconds or so. So this was the first team, the OC, the original club. They came out first, the Good Brothers. They have some like backstory with Finn. It was an okay match. They were kind of dispatched rather quickly.
Yeah, yeah. It wasn't. I mean, even again, sorry, listeners, if you're getting bored of me saying even I could see that match was a little lackluster, particularly compared to the match that came after, which was just wonderful.
Mhm. So after they deal with the OC, sorry, I'm just flipping
Flicking
through.
through.
I know, flicking through. This is Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander. This is the other members of the Hurt Business here. Were you talking about
It
them,
was
Sarah?
gorgeous,
Mhm.
absolutely gorgeous. The commentator says that someone's taking someone for a trip south of heaven. Uh, and then it also uses the expression coup de grace, which just
Mhm.
cracked me up. And there's a gorgeous, sometimes I do notice in wrestling matches, if I could just step back for a moment,
Mhm.
where somebody is on the canvas or against the ropes,
Mhm.
and they have to be dazed for quite a
Quite some
long
time, yes.
time while their opponent sets something up, climbs
Yeah.
up a rope, sets up a table, whatever it might be. But here, even in the non-wrestling part of this match, there was just gorgeous work. One of them is quite tall and has quite skinny legs for a wrestler. And he had long black sort of tights on. He did
Mhm.
this fantastic wobbly leg. He was stepping and his
Wobbly.
legs were just like jelly. It was brilliant. And then he did a shablam and he was on the ground. And I thought, oh, give me this any day rather than just, I am dazed. I am
Yeah.
dazed, waiting for you to jump on me. It was just such a fantastic performance, plus the physicality of it, the athleticism of it, and beautifully directed and choreographed, beautifully performed. And then somebody comes in who doesn't belong there, and
Yeah.
apparently we're never done with the caterpillar. I didn't understand the
Yes.
caterpillar. It doesn't give you anything. It just wears you out. Because the
Yeah.
caterpillar, I thought the caterpillar would go into something, but no, you just do the caterpillar, then you get up, and then you squash some people.
Yeah.
Oh, incredible.
Yes, Otis and the caterpillar. It's so funny because like they the worm everybody used to love doing the worm back in the 90s, right? And there's a wrestler named Scotty Too
I don't
Hottie.
recall. I don't recall.
well,
I
back,
refuse to answer. I don't recall.
well, back here they did, and Scotty Too Hottie was a wrestler who loved to do the worm, and he would set it up like this. He'd do the worm, and then he would elbow you, and it was like one of the most like people love that move. Like single-handedly elevated his whole career.
But
And
did something
so
come out of like the worm into
no,
something?
not at all. It was just
You
like
do the
an elbow
worm,
drop. It was
and then
just like
but
a
still,
worm and then an elbow drop.
even that, here it was the worm, and then you stop doing the worm, and then you do something else. And I thought,
Yeah.
oh my lord, that boy can fly.
Yes, he can. And this is Alpha Academy. Chad, Gable, and Otis. I don't know why I just messed up, but yeah, I mean, like there was a few options here that I was like, okay, so Judgment Day I thought were good high contenders to win this, but going in first never normally works out.
Well, yes, because you like the like the Royal Rumble. Listen to me with my knowledge.
Mhm.
If you go in first, you've got to outlast everybody, and you get no
Exactly.
no break. So they've been in for this whole time, and of
Mhm.
course, so wonderfully set up to get Dominic in the ring because
Yes.
because Otis makes a sandwich of his teammate, and this poor fellow here, whose line he has a line in this show, and it's "Ow, my ribs."
Yeah, Finn Balor, yeah. Yeah, Finn Balor gets
So good.
injured after, like,
"Come
the
on, Finn,
worm.
you can get
Yeah.
up, you can do it, you can do it. Ow, my ribs. Ow, ow, my ribs.
So Dominic
Get a
has to
doctor."
go in there, and it kind of makes more sense now as to why they're able to outlast because they get some fresh blood in
Exactly,
there, even though
exactly.
Dominic kind of gets in there and gets like
Slaughtered.
yeah. Which again, that's the role he has to play. Like he is the person who we absolutely all love to see get the ever loving crap beat out of him. Like that is the point. And then his teammates come and bail him out. Like that is
Yes, it was so good. He spends half the match just folded over that top rope. It was very funny.
yeah. This is the Street Profits. The Street
Oh,
Profits are the last team.
I love them.
Mhm.
I wanted them to just come in and win. Obviously, that's
I
not
thought
the
they were gonna
story,
win.
but I thought
Yeah,
that was what the setup was.
me
They
too.
were beautiful. I mean, these
So good.
are athletes at the absolute height of their powers. They're
Mhm.
flexible, they dance, they bounce, but they have power and they have beauty. And, oh, I just absolutely loved them. And it felt like they were going to win. They were running the ring, they were throwing things, they had him upside down and folded over the ropes. And then suddenly they didn't win. So, oh,
Yep.
what happened? But I
Rare.
was very happy. I don't know the Street Profits, and
Mhm.
I'm absolutely huge fan. Love them.
Yep. One of them is married to Bianca Belair.
Well, there you go, because I adore her as well. So there you
Yep.
go. In
This one,
real life or
my
in
take for
wrestling
it.
life?
In real life.
Look at that elevation.
Mhm. He
I
gets
mean, that
up there.
is but he's a tall man, and he's not
Very.
and he's not slender. Like, he's very fit, but he's not slender. Like,
Mhm.
that is a lot of, muscle, or as the commentators would say, a lot of humanity. Look how high he is. Oh,
Yeah.
incredible,
I
incredible.
I was very sad that they didn't win. Like
Yes.
I think the Street Profits versus the Usos, they have it kind of makes sense though because the Street Profits did go up against the Usos not too long ago and a lot of people thought they should have won back then. So it's very like it feels like they're treading water right now because again, they just want to keep these belts on the Usos.
Mhm.
Um but Judgment Day wins here, so Judgment Day will be
Yeah,
taking
I
on the
wrote,
Usos.
"You think Judgment Day isn't going to win?" And then they do.
Yeah, exactly. So it's
In
like
a
what
sort
just
of
happened.
bit of an afterthought, it's like this
Yeah.
incredible match with the Street Profits just absolutely dominating the ring and,
Mhm.
but, absolutely making that ring theirs. They live there, they fly there, they breathe, they swim there, and yet they're also very powerful. I just loved everything about it. They had Judgment Day absolutely beaten, and then suddenly it's
Mhm.
like, "Oh, now we pin them and now it's over." So,
Yeah,
oh, come on.
Dominic cheated here. So
Yes, he did. Yes,
Dominic
yes,
cheated
yes.
with the help of Rhea.
Boo, cheater.
Yeah, cheater. um
Look at
and
that
then
flexibility. That man's knees are right by his ears.
yeah. And this is the
You
Street
can tell
Profits.
I'm a bit in love with them.
Yeah. This is the Street Profits as they just they're stunned. They don't know what happened because I was for sure they were gonna win, man.
It
But
seems so clear that that was what the story was.
yeah, so like I hope they get some sort of they get a storyline going into WrestleMania again as well. We'll see how that goes. Of course, we'll keep everybody posted and up to date on that. Let's move on to our next well this kind of plays into it. Rhea
I guess.
Ripley. Yeah, what did you think? So I threw in Rhea because Rhea is a wrestler herself. I threw in some of her clips from Raw Explain the first clip here, Sarah. What did you think?
Well, the Poison Pixie is being interviewed, and
Yes,
then
and
Black
it's Ray.
Lipstick Lady is back. Yes, she turns out to be Candace, and they challenge each other. And then there's a slap fight, which I do not like. I don't like the slapping. I don't like, oh, it's girls, so it's slapping, particularly when you have someone like Rhea, who's obviously just, so athletic and so strong and so well built. I mean, proportionally. But Candace is no slouch. I just feel like it was, so what I was looking at was a very uneven match. There's no way that you believe for a
Yes.
minute that Ray is not going to win. You needed to work a
Mhm.
lot harder to convince me. And I felt as a fan, as a wrestling fan, as a watcher of the sport, I felt that you were asking me to have a moment where I might think that Candace is going to beat Rhea. And again, like Bianca Belair, Rhea is doing all the work in this. So when she is momentarily beaten down, she is doing like all the work, and I just didn't buy it. So at one point she flies up in the air, Candace flies in the air, and Ray just catches her in midair and just says, stay down. I liked that. But I felt that, I mean, we love a mismatch. We love a David Goliath or a Davida and Goliatha. But they didn't work hard enough for me to ever think. I mean, was there a second that you ever thought that Rhea wasn't going to win, Murray?
No, this was a squash match. This is what they call a squash match. This is
I like a squash match, but they tried to make me think that Candace had a chance a couple of times, and I thought, don't do that.
Yes, because I should say this is a little bit more elevated than a squash match, because a squash match, normally it's an established talent versus like a jobber, and the established talent is going to win. Candice LeRae is actually a very good wrestler, and she has a very notable name. That's why they got that promo time before to set up this match. But this is one of those matches to make Rhea look good, because the Royal Rumble is around the corner, and I would probably bet money that Rhea should win this. She should be the winner of this Royal Rumble.
I mean, look at her.
I would be like, we're of course, this is the road to the Royal Rumble, road to WrestleMania. We'll get into it a lot deeper as we get closer and closer, and once we make our Rumble predictions and stuff like that. But Rhea is like at the top of the list. If she wins that Royal Rumble, she could do anything in the storyline wise, because if you win the Royal Rumble, you get to challenge for any title at WrestleMania. And right now, currently, the two champions are Bianca Belair and Charlotte Flair, and she has history with both of them. She has storyline with both of them.
Oh, how exciting.
Either one could be such a great matchup, like a headliner for WrestleMania. So I would be absolutely shocked if she doesn't win. And this was basically one of those matches that just reminds you of how dominant she is. And they even say it in the promo, like, oh, how did Candace is talking about how she just wants to win the Royal Rumble, and Rhea's like, how do you think you're gonna win the Royal Rumble? And it's really funny, and I want to hear you compare and contrast this with a scene later down the road.
I just think there are other ways to do it. Like, I mean, I'm sure Candace is. You don't get there by mistake. Like, these women, these men and women are all very hardworking, and they have their talents one way or another. I just feel that in those moments where we were being led to believe or asked to believe that Candace had Rhea stunned or on the ropes, I just think that there was I just think these athletes could have taken it in a slightly different direction to give us the same answer, which was Rhea toying with Candace, allowing Candace to put her on the ground and just, giving us the eye. Because I think both of them were talented enough to have pulled that kind of story off. And then I would have also, I would have enjoyed that more. It's like, oh, put her out of her misery. Stop toying with her. But instead, there were just a couple of times where I was being asked to believe that Candace had, bothered Rhea at all. Yes, as you say, it should be a little more elevated than what did you call it? A slap face? A
squash match.
Squash match, which is such a great title. But I just feel they could have just given them a little more meat on the bone, I suppose,
True.
there in their relationship. But that's, look, I'm not a director of wrestling.
No,
Maybe I should be.
you're
But
right.
that's the direction I would have taken it, because you just take one look at them and you say, unless she cheats or, sneaks up behind her with a bottle to smash over her head, which we don't truck with, there's got to be a different version, which was Rhea, just by her overpoweringness, sending Candice into a fury when Candice feels like she's got a bit of a drop on Rhea, but Rhea, we realise, has just let her think that in order to make the defeat even more galling. So anyway, that's what I would have done with it.
Very true. Yep.
But
right,
that moment where she flies off the top rope and Rhea catches her in midair, it was just breathtaking. What
So
a great!
good.
So you can tell that these two work really well together. I mean, that trust and that collaboration that they had together was like really evident, and I enjoyed seeing that between these two women.
Yeah, and like it's very hard to find people who have like matching levels of skill and talent, but also trying to tell a story. I think both of them have both of that.
Yes.
It's just unfortunately the story they were trying to tell is that Ray is going to win this match, but like you said, the moments that they wanted to try and get you to think maybe Candice will, you're just kind of like, you can't, like it wasn't going to.
Yeah.
Maybe a full-on squash match would have helped with just a nameless jobber, but it's always better for Rhea to come out on top that dominantly against somebody with a very well-known name who's still like
it's more
mid-level.
satisfying. Yeah, it's more satisfying. And they just could have gone past the first idea and maybe found the second idea and the third idea. But this is what we got. But I did, as I say, I enjoyed seeing their matching talent and their enjoyment, underneath, working together so well. They were very, very in sync for this match, and I liked seeing that.
And Rhea's really been putting in work these past few months since she came back from, she had like an injury early in the summer that took her out for a few weeks, like like some concussion issues or something like that.
Oh God.
Yeah, but she's come back and she's done great work, and I really want a feud between her and Bianca. The only problem is I know if that feud happens, then Bianca will more than likely lose the belt. But the two of them used to face off in NXT a lot, in circumstances that they were both relatively new. Their power dynamics and the way they were booked was different in NXT, and they're both so much leveled up now on the main roster, both in stardom and in skill level, and they are really good at wrestling each other. So I really wanted to go down that road if I could. But we'll
tell me if that happens, because I would watch that. I would buy a ticket for that.
Next up, I had Braun Strowman versus Gunther for the IC title here for you. Give me your thoughts on this. I
wrote, this is inverted commas real wrestling.
Yes.
This is what people who don't watch wrestling think wrestling is. So it's two men in two big sweaty men grabbing in very plain costumes, grabbing each other. And I have to say, I now know that's not wrestling, but there was something kind of charmingly simple about it. I'm sorry, I'm just going to cough. Let me mute myself. Yeah, I enjoyed it for that sort of wrestling. This is what we think of it, right? You can see now those white jeans are a crime against.
Oh my God, I hated them. Ugh.
Awful.
The whole time I was like, why are you weaing these right now? Like this is not ring attire. What is happening right now?
Not ring attire. So that was the only sort of non trad wrestling thing. But you can see in their looks, they're sort of fairly well matched physically. There wasn't a lot of like grandstanding and talking. They were just smacko biffo, the slap of chest against chest. And I really appreciated it. It was like a palate cleanser, I suppose. You couldn't watch a whole night of it, but this is to me that absolute. And then when I say basic, I don't mean bad. Look at that elevation.
Yeah.
I don't mean bad, but I mean basic, as
Basic.
in
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the real roots of wrestling, that
Yes.
you have to be able to do that before you can have your feuds, before you can have your storylines of who's engaged to who's marrying who's stealing whose son, like all of that wonderful stuff on top. You have to be able to do this, and I really liked being reminded of that, Ari.
Yeah. Yeah, and then that's why I'm glad to get your thoughts on it, because it's true. Like, as much as we love a good high flying moment, we love, like you said, the David versus Goliath, stuff like that. Sometimes you just want to see two meaty men slapping meats. You just want to see them beat
Exactly.
each other up. And this
Yep.
is it. Gunther is, oh, he's so awesome. I wish I could have sent you a clip of his entrance. His entrance is so spectacular. It's that he's Austrian, and so it's very like very stiff. He is the ring general.
Mhm.
And I love that he beat Braun Strowman. So that's
Yeah. For the genes alone.
yeah, so exactly that. So I mean, not much to say. I mean, really, like, honestly, it's just like men hitting each other. So
But like really well done, like super,
yes,
super well done. Yeah. Yeah.
exactly. Let's move on to this monologue. I had to
Oh
put
my
this in here for you. I
God.
needed to know. I
Oh,
needed to know your thoughts on this.
all right. Imagine
Mhm.
this, everybody, if you're not watching the video. A darkened arena, a darkened arena. A spotlight comes up in the middle of the ring. There's an empty rocking chair, and into that rocking chair comes Bray Wyatt. And you think, is this William Shatner doing Rocket Man? Almost. Almost. He gives us his inner monologue. He has been looking for himself. There he is. It's a
Mhm.
rocking chair, Mari. It's a
It
rocking chair. I
is
thought, like, oh, mwah,
the creepiest piece of
abso-
furniture ever.
whoever thought it would be a rocking chair? It's just they need a raise or a bonus. I am the color red in a world of black and white, he tells us. He's been searching for himself. He calls himself the Eater of Worlds. And I thought,
Mhm.
yeah, that's not you. Yeah, it's not you. That's it. Okay. It
Yeah.
is the Eater of Worlds. But will I let it pass? No, I don't. So seeing as I brought it up, no, I won't let it pass. But he is so invested in his selfhood and in our interest in him and his introspection. And you know what? He's right, because we're hanging on every word. Look at him. There he is. I wondered who I was. I had to search. I had to look inside. And you know who I am? I'm Bray Wyatt. Okay, we knew that when you came in. I loved this. I absolutely loved this. And what was so great was this was the clip that I watched immediately after Gunther and Strowman, big meaty sweaty men smacking into each other.
Yeah.
The bedrock of wrestling. And we come to this complete other side, which is the storyline and the identity crisis of this person. And if we're invested in him, which I mean, you don't have a darkened stadium like that with everybody hanging on in his every word unless they're invested in his story. What am I missing, Murray?
Nothing. That's exactly right. This has been Bray Wyatt since he's been back. Like, people missed him when he was gone. There, he got unceremoniously fired, like WWE tends to do. When he came back, it's like the number one
So
thing.
Mandy might come back.
Honestly, like, WWE, again, when there are people who have been gone, like, fired in the past, left, walkouts, whatever, like, the door, the we say here, the door is never fully closed in the WWE. Like, very
Yes.
rarely is the door like ever really, really closed. So
Is it like
yeah.
the saloon doors that just flap backwards and forwards and you can
Yeah,
come in and out? Yes.
exactly. And yeah, so this storyline with him and Uncle Howdy is very interesting, because again, it's him trying to find himself, but he has an actual opponent. He's talking about LA Knight. They're having a pitch black match. How many times did you see that Mountain Dew ad watching these clips that I sent you, Sarah? Did you see those? Because I saw them every 2 seconds and I thought I was gonna like stick screwdrivers in my ears.
No, I got ads for an Australian prepackaged food
Okay,
product.
good for you, because what's
Mhm.
happening is Bray Wyatt and LA Knight at Royal Rumble, they're going to have a pitch black match. Sarah, we have no idea what a pitch black match is.
Do they wrestle in the dark?
Sarah, we have no clue. I'm like, how am I supposed to see
Marco.
And the sad thing is, Sarah, they have had matches like back in the 90s or the 80s where they had like two people. It was like a blindfold match where they put like blindfold on two people.
Oh my
it was
God.
literally like 10 minutes of the wrestlers going like this, like trying to fight each other. So I mean, I don't know. I do not know.
I would not pay to see that. I like you know.
So we don't know what this pitch black match is going to entail. I'm a little scared. It is sponsored by Mountain Dew Pitch Black. That's
oh, got you. All right.
Yes. And
maybe they'll wrestle in a vat of Mountain Dew.
I would pay to see that. So we
they
don't
brought
know.
out Mountain Dew Doritos sometime. Maybe it was last year or the year before. I got a packet of them and they were just so disgusting, but I ate them all anyway.
So
it's not very big here. You can get Mountain Dew here, but it's not a big product.
And it shouldn't be. So Bray Wyatt has had themed matches before, like specifically for him. Like he has characters that are so big, so larger than life that they will make whole themed matches against for him to elevate his storyline. So some have worked, like the Funhouse match with him and John Cena a few years ago, and then some haven't, with like I don't even remember what they originally called that match, but I'm trying to think. I thought it was going to come to me, but it was like a creepy crawly match.
It was either that or you're about to sneeze, one or the other.
Where him and Randy Orton had a match where all they did was just project like cockroaches on the canvas. Like it would flip to an overhead camera, and then on the mat it would go back and forth with like they would project like, ooh, cockroaches, oh, worms, and Randy Orton would see and be like, oh my God. It was like, what are we watching here? We had a Hell in a Cell match with Bray versus Seth Rollins where it was all red, like the lighting was literally all red. So it's
south of heaven,
a mixed bag. Yeah. It is the mixed bag when Bray Wyatt gets these theme matches. So, you know, I'm curious. I think him and LA Knight have been doing a really good job of carrying the storyline, because again, Bray is fighting LA Knight while also fighting himself. Uncle Howie last week had came out, and Bray Wyatt and LA Knight were in the ring. Uncle Howdy comes out. We thought Uncle Howdy was gonna do something to LA Knight. He actually like hit Bray and then walked out, and everybody's like, oh snap, what's happening? This also confirms to us that Uncle Howdy is played by, it's at least in that iteration, was played by somebody else. So this is great. There's a lot of rumors swirling about who could be under the Uncle Howdy mask. This is another level to Bray's imagination for all of the characters that he's brought to the forefront previously. Like, he's always had like a cast of characters around him, but we've never seen them actually manifest themselves as full-blown wrestling characters. So if they go down the path of trying to like physically manifest some of the characters that he's come up with, I think a lot of us are going to be excited about it. Odds are 9 times out of 10, a lot of us think it's his he has a brother named Bo Dallas who hasn't been featured on WWE in like years. But like has been, and he was like fired. I think he was fired around the same time Bray was. I don't know, but a lot of people think it might be Bo Dallas. Bo Dallas, I think, is also, I think he's dating Liv Morgan, but you know what? I don't even want to put that out there, but we don't know.
Brother against brother, you know, classic story.
Exactly. So either way, it's gonna be interesting. I just hope that whatever happens at this pitch black match, it kicks up to like the next level of whatever the Bray, Uncle Howdy, Alexa Bliss, all of that. I hope it kicks
Mm.
that up. Yeah.
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 Got to get on with it. Come on.
Exactly. Like,
Enough setup. Yeah.
Speaking of Liv Morgan,
Yes.
we got Liv Morgan versus Raquel Rodriguez. They had like a little
Mean girls in the locker
altercation.
room, right?
Yeah, and then
Oh, come on.
a match. Tee me up here, Sarah. What did you think of all this?
Well, Raquel's costume is like best of the night. This
Okay.
green shiny thing, I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Again, my commentators don't let me down. There's a leopard on the loose in Dallas Zoo today, but we have an absolute nutcase on the loose in Green Bay tonight. I thought, I love you so much, because a lot of this stuff is off the cuff, right?
Yeah.
So there, and as you know, anyone who reads the news did know there was a leopard on the loose, but luckily it was spotted. And
I see what you did there.
recaptured. See what I did there?
Mhm,
But
mhm.
this was a curious match to me. I didn't really understand it. Commentators let
Okay.
me down here. They said Liv Morgan is a sadist and a masochist. That is not the way it works. And certainly for me, her hair extensions are a crime.
Oh no.
But and the setup of the table, it was like Raquel had to pretend to be stunned for such a long time while Liv went under the wrong side of the ring, and then she had to go around. She had to get the table. She had to set it up.
Mhm.
I did love, there was a moment where she gets Raquel onto the table. She's on the top rope. We imagine what will happen if she jumps off and lands on her, but Raquel rolls off and she doesn't. We do see the table later, and I thought, well, okay, all right, that's fine. But it was such a it was requiring a lot of the viewers and the people. There she is on the, look at that ass, gorgeous. Sorry, those very strong muscles that she has that allow her to be a great wrestler. And I felt like the crowd was with me. It was like, okay, look, we'll sit here while you do it, but we're not gripped or entertained. It felt like it should have been something, and something was missing. And help me here, I didn't really know what I was looking at.
No, that's about it. So we get the kind of setup in the locker room, and this was supposed to kind of be like the Rhea and Candice situation. Raquel ends up winning, right? Yeah. It's the whole like, oh, you think you're gonna win the Royal Rumble? You're so small. Look at me, I'm so big. Look at my back muscles. I'm Raquel Rodriguez, and it just doesn't hit, right?
Does not
in
hit.
comparison. Yeah, and it's weird because Liv's character has been very interesting since she lost the SmackDown Women's Championship. She was a SmackDown Women's Champion not like 4 months ago.
Well, they're doing her very dirty then.
Exactly. And it's weird because it almost doesn't, the commentary almost doesn't match the character. Like,
yes,
right? Like they're saying she's extreme, she's a sadist, but it's like she's
a nutcase.
Yeah, but it's like she looks very cute. Like,
well, and she just seemed petulant. Like there was no power. And if you think back to Candice, who is petite, certainly in comparison to Rhea, but she's quite a small woman anyway. There was power in her physicality, and power in her performance of the storyline. And here it was, I don't know, Raquel said, I've got the best back. I mean, she's got a great back. And I did like her costume. But it was almost, by the numbers, is almost giving it too much credit, because some of the numbers were missing. It's like they missed some numbers. They did some numbers out of order. There she is, folding her in half. And honestly, that couldn't have come fast enough for me.
Yeah, it's not giving. And it's always been my problem with Raquel, because Liv Morgan, she sells. Like that is one of her main things. Like if she gets hit with the clothesline, she's gonna make it look like she got hit with the shotgun, you know. The problem is with Liv's character, she's She was over as a babyface. She loses the championship. They try and give her like this crazy angle where it's like, oh, she's crazy. She's extreme now. She's like lost it. Like, and it's kind of there, but then it's not because I want to root for her. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
it's like they're really trying to give her that crazy. She's crazy. But it's not working in a sense, and I don't
So,
know why.
crazy lady doesn't work for me.
Exactly.
Sorry.
I think that's what it is. I
Give me
think that's
something else.
it's
At
too
least with
basic.
Alexa, the idea is that she's been either brainwashed or that she's come to her real self or that she's being controlled from the outside. I mean, there now give me, hallucinations and shaking your head and holding your head. But here, but again, you see, now this makes me appreciate Candace and RHAP even more, and I
Mhm.
did spend perhaps too much time talking about like
Mhm.
how well they worked together, how in sync they were, and how you could tell that these were two kind of athletes at the height of their powers. I keep saying I should be a
Mhm.
commentator,
Mhm.
and they just Liv and Raquel, whatever their talents are separately, there was no there between them.
Exactly. Exactly. It is they didn't have really good in-match chemistry. I am not a fan of Raquel Rodriguez's wrestling. I just feel like
Right.
she's just a step behind on like a lot of these
She
talents.
just relies on that physicality of being tall and broad and muscular.
Exactly.
Whereas you've got to have
Exactly.
something else like we see with RHAP.
Exactly. Like that in charisma vacuum. Like there's nothing
Yes,
there. Like
exactly. Yes.
I do not get it, but it's
I liked her costume.
like it's just one of those things where when Liv was turning extreme, there were a lot of Bray Wyatt hints with her as well. Like every time she would like snap or go like she would go extreme, there would be like the sticker, like the logo, like the Bray Wyatt logo in the back. So some people are thinking maybe she'll join that
See, that I would
faction.
like. I would like that rather than, oh, she just crazy.
Yeah, it's like her and Alexa maybe in like a tag team,
Love it.
Uncle Howdy, Bray Wyatt, supernatural tag team could be something.
But
People have been
it
saying,
is interesting what you said. That's really clear now. Those commentators were commentating a match they were not looking at.
yeah, yes, exactly, exactly. Yes,
Good for them. They are doing a lot of heavy lift, like for something like this. They are trying to elevate and bring the crowd to excitement as well. I know.
yeah, yeah, exactly.
I did
So,
like it at one point.
right.
Rad turned to sorry, just to jump back to the Ram match.
Mm.
At one point, she turns around, she says, "I can hear you," which was just fantastic. I mean, what a performer! Like
Mhm,
brilliant. Yes, yes.
mhm, exactly. Whew. Mm, so unfortunate. The SmackDown Women's division. There was another match I thought about including here for the SmackDown Women's just to get your input, but honestly, I was just like, this is boring. Like it was just,
Yes.
I was like, no, thank you.
I mean, I will
But
get up for you at 1 a.m. for you and Matt, but please don't bore me when I do.
no.
But I don't mind the inclusion of this match because it really highlights my pleasure of the previous match, and it
Yes.
lets us sort of pick apart like what is it that's going on. And what's
Mhm.
intriguing is that you say that Liv Morgan is a really nice wrestler, and I'm prepared to believe that,
Mhm.
and that perhaps there is a narrative line for her with Alexa and Bray and Uncle Howdy and that whole story, which I think it's not quite satisfying yet, but if they land it, they will really nail it.
Exactly.
So I'm excited about that. So I'm glad to have seen this now, so that when I come back and there may be some fruition of that narrative, it'll be more satisfying.
Yay.
Yay.
And finally,
Finally.
Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, the Bloodline storyline. Sarah, tell me, what do you think about these segments? First segment here is Paul Heyman talking to Sami Zayn.
Yes. Out of love for him, the tribal chief wants him to do it by himself.
Mhm.
And he's as I understand it, he's not a full. He's not a full member. He's an associate member or a
He's an
pledge,
honorary
perhaps
oos.
an honorary oos.
Mhm.
And so this gentleman in a very tight-fitting suit, don't be afraid to go up a size. It's okay. Emphasizes more than once that out of love, the tribal chief wants him to do it by himself. And Sami seems at first hesitant and then determined. And I do like these little byplays when it's not even that they're good actors, because they're not particularly, but there's something about when two men, two women, whatever it might be, have these talky bits. I don't know what they're called, but I would
Segments,
call them
promos.
talky segments or promos.
Mhm.
When there's a commitment to the bit, I just really love it. So the implied threat of the tight suit, the mysteriousness of this kind of order that you get. There's this order that you want to join, and you get messages not from the people themselves. He wanted to see the people themselves. No, they're not in there, says the man in the suit. And we think, oh, are they? Are they in there? Is he just being a gatekeeper? I mean, there was so much in this little exchange. I was really pleased. And Sami, worried, concerned, and then, okay, no, I'm really going to do it. So that when you get to the match, it's freighted with this backstory. And that's what I love about wrestling, is that, yes, you can have two men smacking chests together and it's quite satisfying. But when you do these storylines, we're all in it somehow. And that's what I like about wrestling. It brings you in. It doesn't exclude the fans. It doesn't exclude the crowd. It brings the crowd with it. So I really liked this. And then we see an interview with KO, Kevin Owens, and Sami interrupts to say, "Are you happy?" And then I say, and my notes say, they shout back and forth.
Yeah. Did you get the underlying of the history between them, Sami and KO?
Yes, the story is former best friends, now bitter rivals. Fantastic storyline.
Yes. And they have literally been in lockstep with each other, like as a wrestling duo for over like maybe 20 years now. Like they started their journey together on the indies and eventually came to WWE. Sami came here first and then KO showed up. I think they've been with WWE, like either in WWE or NXT, since 2014, I believe it is. The both of them. Sami was here since 2012, 2013, something like that. And they've always been lockstep with each other. They're like what you call wrestling soulmates. It's these two. It's like Sasha and Bailey. It's something where you could fight somebody like 100 times and the audience will want to watch every moment of it, because the way that they flow and they gel together, you just want to watch it. So, and I probably shouldn't have said that before I asked your thoughts on the actual match itself.
Well, I can refer to my notes. Fast, big, aggressive men who are very nimble. It was such a pleasure to watch them. It was, I didn't realize the backstory, but as I say, best friends, bitter rivals is a great storyline, and their facility was evident, and it was, it's now that you tell me that, it makes complete sense, because this was, it was a wonderful clip to finish up on. And then, three men jump in. Sami's thrilled, and there's the table that was previously set up. It's like, okay, but Sami has presumably gone out there, been sent out there out of love from the tribal chief. And is it these three men jumping in are showing him that he's now part of it? I'm not sure.
So what we're thinking is he's actually upset that they came in, because
Okay, all right, sorry. I misread the expression on his rather
His
granite-like
expression.
face.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has a lot
Yeah.
of beard that's covering the expression.
Yeah, I think knowing the backstory helps you
Yes, that makes sense now
get
because
to
also
that.
you told me to go out and do it on my own, and I was doing it. Okay, yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah, so, like, and when the Bloodline, which is Jimmy and Jay Usos, who they're the tag team champions, and then Solo Sikoa, their little brother. Roman Reigns is not here. The tribal chief is not here. He's still at home, like KO says. KO told Sammy, Roman makes you do his business, his bidding while he stays at home. Um, Sammy actually at that point in the match, he was set up for his finishing move with KO in the corner and him in the other corner. I don't know if you caught commentary saying, Sammy has him right where he wanted. He can hit the
Yes,
haluva kick.
yes.
Yeah. And Sami Zayn's finisher, the haluva kick, is probably one of my favorite finishers in WWE, and a lot of his moveset is some of my favorite signature moves. Um, but he had him, right? But they came in and they
That
had a
sort of robbed him of the
disqualification,
victory.
kind of like saying they don't believe in him
Mhm.
in a sense. You know what I'm saying? Like they don't believe that he can get it
Right.
done by himself. Um, and he's apprehensive because or he's happy that they're there because that means they have his back, but then he's apprehensive because he's kind of like, I had it. Like, what did you
Yeah,
guys,
yeah.
you know?
Oh, that's intriguing. Oh, I like that. Yes, because I do
Mhm.
remember the commentator saying he has him where he wants him.
Mhm. Yeah, it's very
Ah,
layered.
okay.
Yeah,
Yes.
this is just one of a little bit of offshoots on this whole Bloodline Sami Zayn storyline. It's a storyline that's been going on for about almost like around a yearish, maybe a little less than that. So it's like a onion of you'd really like it if they do a WWE playlist where they unravel the whole thing. I'll send it to you, but it's very much about Sammy wanting to be a part of that family, the bloodline. They're all, if you, I don't know if you've noticed, but they're all Samoan and they're all actually related, like like literally related to each other. That's why it's called the bloodline. Like I said,
Mhm.
the two Usos there and Solo Sikoa who came in and helped Sammy, they are all brothers. And they're the kids of Rikishi, a famous wrestler. And Sammy, he tells KO and Sammy, they used to be best friends, but they over the years they worked together, and then they've been enemies, and they work together and they've been enemies. So it's always like, a turn of the wheel, where they at. And he even tells KO, like, they are my family. You are not my family. They are my family. And KO is trying to get Sammy to realize, like, they are actual blood. They will choose themselves over
Yes.
you. Yeah.
Yes. Love
And
it.
yeah, and Sammy just wants to belong so much that he's done everything in order to get this honorary Us title. The crowd responds to him so actively now, and he talks about it. I think he talked about it in one of the promos. Like, Sammy Zayn has been a fan favorite, but he just never. It would always seem like he never got his opportunity to really shine. Like, he never got the opportunity to shine, and he gets into this bloodline storyline, and he's finally shining. People are on his side, and the kind of story that's being told is like, people are so much on Sammy's side that Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, is kind of like, are you coming for my spot? Like, do you want to be the tribal chief? you know why do the fans love you? Like, it's very layered, and it's
Oh,
very
nice
good.
tension. Nice tension
Mhm.
there. I love it. Oh, that's exciting.
Yes, and Sammy and KO, they work like butter. Like, the way that they wrestle in a ring, it's so smooth. Like you said, like, it's just, and again, that's what I mean by wrestling soulmates. Like, they probably went into that ring just knowing they had like 15 minutes, and they just probably set that whole match up in ring. Like, some people who have wrestled each other so often, they can just create a match off the cuff. Like a lot of people don't realize like some matches are produced beforehand. There's like might be a step by step. There might be like what's coming, what move is coming here. Like, but sometimes it's just a on the fly type of thing. And I would bet money that this was an on the fly. They just go out there and do what they do, and then the ending is set up. I'm pretty sure that run in and all that was set up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that's how smoothly they can go. So we don't know where this is going. A lot of people thinking that the bloodline turns on Sammy, and that Sammy and KO face maybe the Usos or Roman at WrestleMania. We don't know. We have no clue where this is going, but we're all along for the ride.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that's it for the highlights of the week. Of course, the highlights can be found in a very handy playlist, either in our show notes or show description, either on YouTube or in our podcast feed. I want to thank Sarah so much for stepping in with me at relatively
Gilda
last
Tintin
minute.
Ventura, don't you mean? Gilda
Oh
Tintin
yeah,
Ventura.
Gilda Tintin Ventura for stepping in.
Oh, it was my absolute pleasure. I loved watching the clips, and I loved talking about them with you, Mari. Thank you.
Yes. So, Gilda, can you tell people where they can find you?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at Gilda Tintin Ventura, all lowercase. No, I'm at Sarah Carradine on Twitter, and you can also find me every week talking to Mari, the great Mari Forth, on Crime Scene, where we break down a documentary or a docu-series about true crime with some either amazing guests or just us.
Mm-hmm. Yes. You can also, this week we're on Crime Scene. We're about to drop our a really good episode on the hatchet wielding hitchhiker.
Exactly.
Yes,
Kai, the hatchet wielding hitchhiker.
Yes, featuring our one of our favorite returning guests, Chappelle, will be on with us.
Yes, you can subscribe to our feed. Rob has a website.com/crime feed. You'll get your true crime on Tuesdays.
Yes, exactly that. Of course, you can find me on Twitter at Mari Talks Too Much. That's 2 like the number 2. Of course, every week here with Matt. True Crime Tuesdays with Sarah. And this week I will be on the Drag Race podcast, the RHAP Drag Race podcast. So you can check that out by subscribing to the Drag Race podcast, or we'll be on YouTube as well at the Rob Has a Podcast YouTube page, where the Wrestling RHAPup is, Drag Race is. Please subscribe to the Wrestling RHAPup podcast. Go to robhasawebsite.com/wrestling feed. Please subscribe. We love to actively get our numbers up. If you love us, subscribe, listen, watch on YouTube, all of those good things.
Give it the good thumbs up.
Yes. And of course, you can always tweet us at Wrestling RHAPup on Twitter, and send any long form emails to wrestling@robhasawebsite.com. Other than that, just remember, wrestling is for everybody, but not all wrestling is for everyone. Bye.
Throw 'em up, lay it down just like Matt and Mari. Wrestling RHAPup's gonna make you sorry. Feeling like The Rock, cause I'm driving in Ferraris, and we coming every week and it's feeling like a party. Moolah Ric Flair, showing out like Bianca Belair, Best podcast, flush it in the air, From the rings and we win it, don't care, No cap. Throw 'em up, lay it down just like Matt and Mari. Wrestling RHAPup's gonna make you sorry. Feeling like The Rock, cause I'm driving in Ferraris, and we coming every week and it's feeling like a party.